We're Kim and Al. Last year, we made some pretty big changes. We retired, sold our house in the city, and moved north to an old farm homestead at the end of its life. Our plan is to build an off-grid home ourselves. This year, with our solar and septic systems completed, as well as basic four-season shelter, we're ready to take on the challenge of building our forever home. We're excited to share our experience as we continue to create this new life on the North River. One of the things that is important to us and a goal that we set for ourselves when we made this move is to have time and energy to pursue our hobbies. Al likes to play his instruments and make music. I have taken piano for about a year and want to continue to learn. Eventually, I want to play like Alicia Keys. That being said, it's a priority this winter for us to get the musical equipment set up. As a side note, we're both determined to learn French too. We both love that little green owl.
Hey folks, welcome to the 80s Running Shoe Show. Just noticed our cheese logo. I digress.
So this week we finished this wall over here and plugged up that old vent. We decided that we didn't need both.
Yeah, the 1.5 inch vent was the one we originally put in, just so that we would have air intake to balance the air that we were blowing out especially when we were running the old propane furnace in the trailer. So since we installed the wood stove, we have a 3-inch ABS pipe that we've used to vent air to bring in more fresh air to help the stove operate properly and efficiently. So we really don't need the one that was below the exhaust vent. And since it's just more stuff to cut in the drywall and make it trickier to install, we just took the opportunity to remove it and seal it up. And just in case too, it's a little bit higher up on the wall, in case it was causing some unnecessary like condensation and vapor problems, just the warm air in the building mixing with the cold air outside. So that's done. Filled it in with some insulation and sealed it up from the outside. Yeah,
so we're pretty pleased with the way it looks. It looks really nice in here. I mean, it's more finished looking. So we're pretty pleased with it.
Yep.
The next thing we did was the mantle.
Yeah, for the hearth. We had a big chunk of slab, like red pine that we had picked up from the Mennonites, the stuff that they discard after they cut their proper lumber. Some of them are really nice pieces. This was about a 6x4. We weren't quite sure what we were going to do with it originally. I was thinking of like a door header or something like that, but then we used it for the mantle. Turned out really nice, so used the chainsaw to kind of carve out a little slot for it so it would sit nice and level on top of the hearth, and used PL to glue it down, and then braced it against the wall with some 10-inch construction screws, like the Timberlock screws, because I noticed that by accident I kind of put my weight against it and tipped it against the wall, like not all the way over, but it makes sense. Just a freestanding brick wall standing on top of that platform. So what I saw in other installations as well, same idea. They use bolts and spacers to ensure that it's properly secured, but still has that air space behind, so that it functions as that kind of heat sink and buffer for the wood stove.
Yeah. So we're getting a lot of little jobs like that done, and we really do want this place to be kind of working the way that we want it when the spring comes, because we have a lot of big jobs planned for the spring, and so we really do want everything to be kind of up to code in here as much as it can be, and finish all that stuff up.
Come spring, the puttering is over, and all the little things that we've been doing here, like Kim says, we want to be done with that, because we're going to start working on the farmhouse in earnest.
Yeah. So we've just been, relaxing and taking it easy as far as our day to day. I am doing yoga with Al. Al's learning yoga.
I'm learning to get stretchy,
which is really helping. Stretching is helping.
Massive.
I did it. I was pretty regular with it when we were living in Toronto, but I've gotten away from it since we've been up here, and it just makes such a difference. I forgot how good you feel when you're doing it all the time. So,
especially when you're punishing your body on a daily basis.
Yeah. So, and then the last thing that we did this week was Al got his music equipment set up, which is really nice. We had a music room back home, and we haven't had that set up at all since we've been out here. So it's really nice to have that back and be able to play and practice. And
yeah, Kimmy's going to take back up the piano lessons, and that's going to be awesome. So this is Music Room Light. The drum kit is still out. The bass guitar, I've got a resonator guitar in that too. That we just left those in the shipping container so as not to overcrowd a very small space. Mm. And we're really happy with the way it worked out. Is I used a bunch of old maple in that, like nice hardwood that was left over from other projects from the TO house, and made some stands and things to mount a lot of this stuff against the wall. So it's very, very space savvy. Like my guitar amp sits underneath the piano, and you'll see it's all kind of packed against the wall to minimize the use of space. But all my keyboardy stuff is now in play. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's nice to have it back. So this week, another thing that we were doing was just, taking walks. We've got a lot of snow up here right now.
True that.
We got a lot of snow this week, and we're continuing to get a lot of snow. They're actually calling for
I think it's like 10 to 15 centimeters now.
Yeah,
for
and
today.
initially it was 25, but yeah, it's gone down. So
yeah, we didn't get any. It was supposed to start last night, continue all the way through till tomorrow morning, but it never. A little bit fell last night. What's weird here though, my brother described it best as I told him about the different paths that we've had to shovel around the yard and that, and he's like, sounds like you've got like an ant colony, but it's true. If you look out, we've got like a path that runs behind the solar array. One that goes to the driveway area that we've shoveled out for the truck, and then another one that goes past the solar array to the shipping container, and then on to the edge of the property where Kim dumps the organics and the like the composting stuff and the ash from the fireplace. And then another one that goes down to the river, one that goes to my work tent where I have some of my equipment in that, and then another one still that goes to the farmhouse. And what happens is, even if we just get like 4 centimeters of snow, because of the way it drifts and blows around in the yard, it like always fills those in. So even though it's like 4 centimeters of snow, I have like a foot of snow that's filled up all those little trenches, and so I'm getting in shape, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of shoveling, and too, as well as that, you know, with the warmer days and then the colder days, we actually had to take up the board on our Waterhole 2.0.
It's funny, yeah. So yeah, we will have some future video of Waterhole 3.0 because it wasn't counting for the OSB and the insulation boards that we sit on top of the ice. On a sunny day, even if it's cold, it still warms up and it's slowly like sinking into the ice. Like the ice is swallowing up little pieces of the styrofoam. Yeah. So we've got an idea for that. But, you know, depending on how things go, you know, maybe we end up with a well before we have to, you know, think of an even more sophisticated solution to pull water out of the river like it's 1880.
Yeah. I mean, truly, this winter, it's not going to look like this next winter, but we'll talk to you about that as that
incremental progress
as it unravels. But yeah, this week has been nice. The last couple weeks have been nice because we're really starting to just do these smaller jobs, and there's a real comfort level in our place now. We're getting quite efficient and effective with our fires now, and so we really got it at a nice temperature in here, and we're not having as much trouble with the condensation on the ceiling, which fingers crossed is...
Yeah, I don't know how much of a problem that is going to be after all. It could have been some... One thing I didn't realize, and it makes sense, right? Even things like your drywall, that's all part of the ultimate building solution. So not having drywall on our ceiling means that any moisture that's collecting up there, especially before we got the ceiling fan, is able to slowly permeate that vapor barrier, because it's not a vapor retarder. It's not a vapor barrier, it's a vapor retarder. It's just supposed to slow the traveling of vapor. But so does your drywall. You know, vapor can travel through drywall, but it does slow it down. And so I've been talking to some guys at this company, Roof Mart, and just explaining what our solution is at present and trying to figure out what we need to do, right? So we're not spending any extra money unnecessarily, and ensuring that we don't have that problem where moist air is getting to the deck and then condensing and freezing in really cold weather.
Yeah. So we're just using this time to do these smaller projects to get the space set up, but then as well as that, research a lot of the things that we're planning for this spring, which is nice. It's nice to have just to not be under duress and just kind of think, oh, how do we want to do this, and look at it from a couple different angles and figure out what the best way.
Yeah, exactly. Plan it out ahead of time so that we're not scrambling. Plus, I get to go on all kinds of Wikipedia tangents. I was reading about chickens the other day, and which chickens are hardier in Northern Ontario climates, and how many eggs, and whether they brood or not. And it's like 5 years in the future. I don't know when we're going to have chickens, but yeah. So sometimes
we are going to have chickens.
Sometimes I go too far, and I should probably just stick to the building stuff. But what are you going to do?
One day, lots of big dreams.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for today, guys.
Yep.
So. Have a good one.
Yippers. Bye now. Just endless fun. Holy smokes. I don't know what half the stuff does.